Hello, everyone. Mr. Chamberlain here. Just wanted to start today with a review of yesterday's silliness in terms of my office hours. Thanks to those of you who gave me some comments and thoughts on my record collection. Um, Looks like 55% of you are kind of with me on what brings joy. Only a few of you felt like your time was wasted, which is terrific. This is my actually my favorite part. That 15% of you believe that you finally know what a single is, and it's good to know that that's a 45. Thanks for bearing with me. Um, my thoughts are turning this week to other people who've done amazing things. Maybe people who've endured some amazing things. This is actually the ship called the Endurance, which was captained by this guy, Ernest Shackleton. 100 years ago, there was a big British mission to get to the South Pole, and this guy was an absolutely heroic failure in never actually getting there. He and his crew were embedded in ice off the coast of Antarctica. This map kind of shows you how this worked. So this is 1914, embedded in ice. They spend all of 1914 embedded in ice and then even drifting in the pack ice. Here you can see it's November of 1915. They finally make it to this Elephant Island, where they're able to set on land and then retrofit one of their rescue boats for this amazing hundreds of mile ocean journey, just a couple of them. And it's May 1916 that they get there. So these guys are lost at sea, in essence, for better than 2 years. Everybody survived. Everybody's morale was kept up. It's just one of those amazing stories about people in an extreme situation, and it ended really amazingly well. Maybe there's a lesson in that story for all of us. I do want to talk a little bit about the form that you worked on for our first assignment. I hope that there were parts of this that were helpful that you could learn from. The two problems that people got wrong the most had to do with the Americas and had to do with Southeast Asia. So I just wanted to emphasize something that, one, the biggest thing is the world zone, the Americas. When we take North America and South America and put them together, that's five, the Americas. When we take just the part south of Canada and the United States, so the part starting here, basically at the Rio Grande River, where Mexico starts, that whole region is called Latin America. So that would have been seven. And then this region, it's kind of the last southern portion of North America, is called Central America. It is kind of confusing in our mind's eye that Mexico and all of Central America are actually part of the continent of North America. Sometimes in our minds, we sometimes sort of take this part of geography and stick it in our minds with South America. So the big one here in the Western Hemisphere, the Americas. The Spanish and Portuguese speaking part, Latin America. The part that's the southern, skinny, mountainous end of North America, that's called Central America. Now this was a little confusing over here as well, 11 versus 8. This chunk of peninsulas and islands, it's a lot of Malaysia and Indonesia, that comes off the southeastern end of Asia, is called Southeast Asia. So 8 was Southeast Asia. What 11 is meant to be stretching across is the mountain range called the Himalayas. Remember way back when we were doing Threshold 4, that what's now the country of India was kind of a plate, its own plate that was moving north and north and north and north and north, and it finally collided with mainland Asia. It's still colliding today. And that's what continues to create the Andes Mountains. Let's talk about today's assignment. I'm a little bit worried that this might go over the 20-minute mark. So let me explain this to you first, what I think you should do if you want to stay around the 20-minute mark. And maybe I shouldn't have the answer key up. Maybe I should have your version up. Oh man. This is what happens with screencastifys, guys. There'll be errors along the way. So hopefully you weren't paying too close attention, but just like class normally, I sometimes have the answer key up in front of you. So how does this work? It's based on this assignment and it's based on this reading. So I actually linked the text in twice. I think the best thing to do is to bring up this text. It looks like this, and then to remember that Control F is your friend. Use Control F as you're looking for ideas in this to fill out this assignment. What we are working on is regional trade networks. And in essence, those two regions are, one is in, well, I guess I spoiled it. So one is in Afro-Eurasia, one is in Afro-Eurasia, and one is in the Americas. So what I want you doing is thinking about that in the first slide. That kind of sets things up here. Then what I want you doing is labeling the place. So what are these spots in here? And then I want you doing web searches to add these images to your work. There's a tech tip down here to remember how to do that with Tools Explore and our old buddy, the PNG search that gives you some nice images. There's also an embedded question in here. Notice then that this follows the same kind of pattern, although it gets a little more complicated. There's 4 chunks to label, so all of those are mobile. You can just drop those into the map right where they go. And then there's at least 4 of these to choose. If you're stretching yourself a little bit and you want to go into more detail, feel free to do more than 4, but doing 4 is just fine. There's 2 embedded questions here about this map. And then lastly, there's 3 other questions, and then kind of similarities and differences. This section, guys, is not necessarily in the reading. It's meant to sort of be your summary of the other pieces that you've already written down. So I want us thinking about what these civilizations were doing in terms of interacting with each other and how the Americas turn out to be set up differently than Afro-Eurasia. So if you have time, if you find yourself with extra time, I think the number one extension you could do is make sure you're reading the entire article. This is not required of all of us, but that would be a useful way to spend your time if you're looking to spend more time on social studies than just the 10 minutes of Screencastify and the 20 minutes of work time. Good luck. Email me with questions. Looking forward to hearing from you. Chin up.